What exactly does fair trade mean anyway? That we offer you the same thing for your bag of beans as we do the man who rides around in jeeps with machine guns, dressed in camos and blasting Illmatic at all hours of the night?
Let me tell you, waiting in line with a bunch of people who have had their water turned off. This will force you to re examine your life in extraordinary ways. One lady in line had this accordion file of child support papers that must have gone back to the Nixon era. She blamed her ex husband for everything, from government shutdowns to the failure of Blockbuster Video.
Collections aside, Moira was pretty popular with the repair fleet. Again, my opinion, speculation. I imagine she was getting her meter read multiple times a week by a host of different technicians. But you didn't hear that from me. Hey, what happens in the maintenance closet stays in the maintenance closet. I get it.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
Decay Triple X, our final Snaggletooth Decay of 2025, including our top 10 albums of the year. And there's a Spotify playlist at the bottom of the notes. Check it out, don't check it out, I don't care. I made it for myself, so whatevs. Anyway.
And not the kind of triple X you may think, but this is our year finale.
You got to pay a lot more for that. Lots of good stuff in the pipeline. I think you're really going to like this week's feature interview. But until we get to that, let's talk about utility vehicle. Now, personally, I do not need a travel agent. I do not need a party planner. But what I would like is a third party that could help me with managing utility companies.
The fact that the water bill is quarterly completely throws us off. Quarterly feels like a pop quiz. Life keeps springing on me. Is there a way we could find a service that bills you every month for a third of the balance and then sends them a check so I don't forget? 3 easy payments of $9.41? The fourth payment, that's going to be a painful one. Because somehow, when I put it aside, it just gets forgotten. 1 month, it's a measly $5.31 late fee. I'm not sure what cosmic abacus assigns these fees.
$5.31, yeah.
The next thing I know, here comes that unscrupulous little dude with the steering wheel thingamajig to shut off the water.
Sadly, I've been there a few times, and let me tell you, trying to negotiate with those guys will get you nowhere fast. They don't want to hear that, I'm sorry, bills due every 3 months are a challenge. Or, actually, we have plenty of money to pay this. And just so you know, running at him, waving a check, or trying to offer them a Pepsi as a bribe, that won't get you anywhere either. They just ride around in their little van like H2O Grim Reapers, and there is no stopping the inevitable. The next thing you know, the water shut off and the whole family's pissed off because they can't shower, or more importantly, make organic hot cocoa. This phenomenon was very interesting when I had teenagers in the house because they would say things like, whatever, I'll be at Elizabeth's, same shit as always around here, and they'd storm out. I mean, my kids were on the verge of a walkout if we ran low on Chick-fil-A sauce, much less water, so the system sort of took care of itself.
Let me tell you, waiting in line with a bunch of people who have had their water turned off. This will force you to re-examine your life in extraordinary ways. One lady in line had this accordion file of child support papers that must have gone back to the Nixon era. She blamed her ex-husband for everything, from government shutdowns to the failure of Blockbuster Video. All the lady behind the glass would say was, "Will that be cash or charge? Next."
This one guy in front of me was like 80 years old, and he had an oxygen tank with him. But I swear later I saw him standing outside smoking. How did he pull that off without spontaneously blowing up? That's when you really reach the fuck it stage of life, taking a drag while connected to a highly flammable pressurized tank. What's the worst that could happen at this point?
Property tax notices. It seems like you never get one that tells you your property value has gone down, does it?
Nope, never.
So, we'll be knocking $70 off your monthly mortgage because you didn't opt for a landscaper? Hell no.
Hell no. I guess it's supposed to be like a compliment because your property value's going up, but at our age, it never is seen that way. I knew when they put in that goddamn Baskin Robbins and the brushless car wash, my mortgage payment was going to go through the roof, and of course it did. Can't they install like a steel mill or a sewage treatment plant down the street to offset the cost, drag the numbers down a tick? I mean, I drive a 98 Stratus and my diabetes said goodbye to ice cream a decade ago. What the hell do I need with a brushless car wash or Baskin Robbins?
I used to play the game with the electric company back when money was tight and tried to thread the needle between the due date and the shutoff date. Anyone else try this? I'm not sure why they would go out of their way to show those as two separate dates. What I found was it created some kind of quiet discontent among the electric company staff. If the due date was the 15th and the shutoff date was the 30th, and you paid them on the 18th, this apparently flummoxed the entire billing department because the following month I would get angry notices tripling the amount due like it was some kind of vendetta billing.
I swear I had a handwritten note on mine once. You're not going to trick the bureaucracy. My theory. I imagine head bean counter Sparks McMoira, and that I had disrupted her flawless adding machine system of counting checks the 15th and dispatching Ernie the shutdown man for the following week. Collections aside, Moira was pretty popular with the repair fleet. Again, my opinion, speculation. I imagine she was getting her meter read multiple times a week by a host of different technicians, but you didn't hear that from me. Hey, what happens in the maintenance closet stays in the maintenance closet. I get it.
Easy Pass, or whatever you call it, your prepaid toll transponder. They were fine for years until the pandemic hit, and I guess nobody was driving through tunnels enough for their personal taste. All of a sudden, instead of their normal $35 month credit card payment, they started helping themselves to $80 and $90 and $100 chunks with zero explanation whatsoever. It got me a little concerned. Did they know something I didn't? Was I going to need to take an impromptu trip to Key West in the next couple of weeks? People are so judgy down there. Is my swimsuit still considered fashionable? Sure, tolls weren't a problem, but this suntan is straight out of Transylvania at this point, and I'm already feeling judged.
I don't blame you. The one that I need the most help with, though, is the cable company, internet. I would pay a third party a stiff monthly fee just to deal with them and give me answers in plain English. Why does the cable go out when it's windy? Is the internet windborne? Aren't there lines buried underground? Why does the technician come to fix it and tell me that I passed 3 out of 5 tests?
I think that's a flunk. Or he says our issue is too much bandwidth. I think they're just messing with us at this point. That's like the doctor claiming your illness is being caused by excessive health. There's more. The cable hookup on the side of my house. It's a ridiculous gaggle with more crisscross wires than the server room at ABC Studios. It looks like every technician since 1994 just added one more cord for the record. Well, at least it looks like I did something. They may as well add a seismograph and a radar detector for all the good it does.
And the last rocket scientist that came out to check it, he has a cable resting directly on our hose bib for our garden hose. That was the problem. With a hookup like this, we shouldn't have any problems communicating with the Mars rover, much less keeping a basic internet signal. And yet, as I typed this, I'm getting a connection loss message. Anyway, you want to talk about our feature interview?
Our feature interview this week is with the one and only Jeramie Kling, drummer and vocalist for the classic thrash death metal band Inhuman Condition. This is Jeramie's second time on the show, and it's a great discussion that covers all things that have been happening in the band, from their latest album and tour to their songwriting process, and we even sneak in the question, which is harder at this point, playing the drums or being the lead singer? Plus, we try to get the scoop on the status of a few of his other side projects. The man is in about 150 bands at this point. Stay tuned for that.
All right, let's get it going. This is from the album Mind Trap, Face for Later.
Harvest, harvest,
Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcasts. And for $6.66 a month, you get a long out-of-commission bloodmobile filled with Mark and Stace.
Yes, for more than that viral Grinch Happy Meal adult fast food thing, you can help support this show and in turn support underground music that we promote.
Now, we did just put up a really kick-ass book review, but I've been told that we need to start putting out more wacky, non-edited footage. So I'll be happy to put some more of that up because we got tons of that. So if you want to see what's happening when the cameras are on, but the editing is not, check out our Patreon and see for yourselves. Speaking of the editing is not, I think it's time.
Boy.
Let's do it. Hit it.
And now it's time for Obnoxious Trivia!
Okay, Obnoxious Trivia semi-educational version is on.
All right, first one, number 1, Philo Farnsworth. Great name. He was actually the inventor of the television. Later, he became angry because A, all the money he made from RCA jaded his wife, B, refused to let his children watch it because there was nothing good on it, C, thought the pursuit of adding color to television was the devil's work, or D, campaigned that television could never be recorded because it would capture people's souls.
Wow. Capture their souls. Can't even capture anything funny. Let's see. Philo Farnsworth. He sounds like a barrel of that. Yeah. I'm gonna say it was C. He thought that the pursuit of adding color was the devil's work.
It's actually B. He refused to let his children watch it. He wanted it to be strictly educational. And goddamn it, we got a hold of it and turned it into the assorted crap like, is on now.
Like Mark's Obnoxious Trivia.
This thing or social influencers or sketch comedy or
Repetitive eating, T-Rex racing.
T-Rex racing.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
good
liked
stuff.
ESPN 9, I don't think. It doesn't feel like
No.
it was up his alley.
He thought it was horrible that it wasn't educational, so he refused to let his own children watch, I Love Lucy or
With
whatever.
a name like Philo Farnsworth, he was probably out partying all the time. All right, number 2.
Every year, the Pompeii Archaeological Park receives about 100 packages back from tourists returning stolen fragments of pottery or stone. Why do they send them back? A. Italian law requires stolen artifacts to be mailed back anonymously. B. Custom officials threaten massive fines once the items are flagged. C. The tourists experience tragedies and believe the artifacts are cursed. Or D. They later discover the items are radioactive and chemically dangerous. Remember, Pompeii was the big volcano that wiped out the whole town.
I like C, but I'm going to go with B and be practical. Customs officials threaten massive fines.
It's actually C.
Okay.
People who take stuff die or have their spouses croak immediately and suffer all this bad stuff, so they just frickin' mail it back in an attempt to reverse the curse.
So they figured that that's the cause.
They've recently created a beach where Pompeii was to kind of create the original beach, but it's not like the kind of beach you go to suntan. It's beach where you go to contemplate, deaths. It's very death metal adjacent.
A contemplation beach. Okay. So far, I'm 0 for 2. Number 3.
Jimmy Heddleson, multimillionaire owner of the Segway Company, died in 2010 after what bizarre accident? A. Driving a Segway off a cliff into a river while walking his dog. B. Being run over by a Segway in his own warehouse by a disgruntled employee. C. Testing a prototype rocket-powered Segway that exploded. Or D. Falling asleep drunk while riding a supercharged prototype Segway on a highway.
I'm going to go with A, driving a Segway over a cliff.
You are correct. He was walking the dog on his own invention and went over a cliff.
And the poor dog went over too?
I guess.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. What if the dog survived?
Oh, they didn't say that, but is that crazy?
That's my first thought. The heck with this guy. Did the dog survive?
Yeah.
All right, I got one right. Okay, number 4.
In 14 57, Savangy, France? A sow and her 6 piglets were accused of killing and eating a young child and were put on trial. What was the verdict according to Robert Chambers' 1869 Book of Days? A. The sow and all 6 piglets were dressed in white robes and hung from the gallows. B. The sow was executed, but the piglets were acquitted due to their youth and the bad example of their mother. C. The entire pig family was pardoned because the farmer had not fed them. Or D. The pigs were sentenced to plowing fields for the rest of their days.
Wouldn't D be the way anyway? Well, I don't think pigs did plowing. I'm gonna go with B. The sow was executed, but the piglets were acquitted.
You are correct. Very good. Yeah, they set the piglets free because they said, obviously the mother was at fault here. They didn't commit murder on their own.
And I need some coffee and maybe a plate of bacon to think this over.
Yeah, but they actually did put them in human. It was a human court.
Wow.
Because they had killed a child.
You like bizarre courtroom stories, yeah. Okay, well, this has been Obnoxious Trivia. Still semi-educational, but not too much. Okay, it's time for a Snaggletoon. This one's called Language Laundering.
Sustainably sourced seafood. Anyone in the store know what that means? They don't use painful nets? Is it turtle friendly, like they cut open the 6-pack tabs? I think the tuna gets like a warning first. Nobody knows. Nobody's ever known. But somehow you feel morally superior putting it in your cart, like you bought some fish, but you also are a planet healer. Maybe it just means it's not from the world's deadliest catch.
Right, the captain's not like Quint from Jaws at all, spewing out war stories and bad limericks with poor dental hygiene. This is a svelte Danish man named Thomas. He's wearing an untucked pullover, very attractive, and he says, I appreciate it a lot. The vagueness helps the imagination run wild. I'll bet these fish had spa days, little salmon day spawning retreats, waterfall massages, cucumber water, hydrating face masks, and Chardonnay for the females, and the males if needed.
It's not the ocean, it's Seatopia. Handsome guides greet them with a friendly namaste. I picture a sign underwater. Please enjoy the coral, respect the kelp,
And remember, self-care is important. And then we eat them. That's the part they leave off the label. Which sounds better, sustainably sourced or lovingly killed? They both mean the same thing, I guess.
And sustainably sourced gets smacked on everything suddenly, because we consumers have no idea what it means. What are you going to do? Travel to Norway to do a salmon farm inspection? I don't have that kind of time on a Tuesday night. Let's talk about fair trade coffee. This label obviously means I can sip my chestnut praline latte in peace. Put your overactive imaginations to rest. 5-year-olds with dolls made from rags, forced to pick coffee in the hot sun for hours on end. I mean, sure, you can imagine such things if you want to be rude. Dude, I thought we were putting our fantasy football team together. Bro, I can't find a single decent kicker to save my life. Save me.
What exactly does fair trade mean anyway? That we offer you the same thing for your bag of beans as we do the man who rides around in jeeps with machine guns, dressed in camos and blasting Illmatic at all hours of the night? I know you paid $11 for an espresso, so you've obviously done your part.
My coffee gives back with more than a jolt of caffeine. Prove it? Check out the stamp on the cup. Read it and weep. I gotta pick up the kids soon anyway. What do you work for, UNICEF all of a sudden?
Another common one is I only eat natural foods. Interesting. Natural has no official FDA definition. None. It can be slapped on almost anything, including foods with artificial ingredients. So yeah, naturally fake. How does the song go? Aspartame fields forever.
Okay, I can't take anymore. Let's play a song. This is Inhuman Condition with Recycled Hate.
I will make you loathe me, despise my reality. You will never break me from following my destiny. Tortured by the anger festering inside me. Unleash a pent of fury, complete the vicious circle. It came to me.
And now it's time for us to bring back a sponsor from yesteryear, Jersey Pickles.
Jersey Pickles.
And we have so much of the very thing here.
Oh my gosh, this company. They always are doing free things. For a while, it was free pickle juice. Now, if you buy 4, you get 1 entire jar free. It's amazing. But you can pick your own favorites. They do have ones that have heat to them. This is a little more for the spice adverse. You can imagine my nails topping on this. Oh my God, can you smell it? Oh my God, it's so awesome.
Is that the horseradish?
This is the sweet horseradish
Yeah,
pickle
gosh,
chips.
get in my belly. Okay, what else?
Like I said, they have a variety of things. We tend to like the spicier things, but they also have sour pickles. But these are hot pickled tomatoes. Get some of these in your belly. It also does have pickled chips in there with it.
Okay, I've got my Jersey Pickles. Where are yours?
So if you use our link, it will save you off your first order. And don't worry, these ship in the mail, but these are plastic.
Yep, you don't have
Not
to
gonna
worry about
butt.
any kind of a problem. And this is, if there is ever a product that is more about guilt-free snacking than Jersey Pickles, I dare you to find it because I have not been able to.
Bombastic.
Bombastic!
Okay, it's time for Bombastic Plastic, and this week we're going to talk about this album from the Finnish band Ride for Revenge. This is Wisdom of the Few. Now, I will never forget this young kid that used to write for us when we had the Underground zine back in the late 2000s. He was from Finland, metal true as they come. He probably wore full leather overcoats to dental checkups. Now, I can't remember his name, but it was one of those classic umlaut names from Finland, like Vlano or Orni or something like that. At any rate, the kid was like a breath of fresh air to the rest of us, jaded old farts. We had been cranking out reviews for years on end, and one day he remarked about how much I obviously was into noise rock. I had no idea what the hell he was talking about. But when I started looking back at the stuff I had been choosing to review, it was all Drunk Driver, Billy Bayo, Dry Rot, Piss Jeans. So he had noticed something that I hadn't even picked up on.
He sent us a CDR from his local Finnish connection. For all I know, he was out drinking with these guys on the weekends. Ride for Revenge, which represented their debut album, The King of Snakes. I was a goner from the very first listen. Primitive, depraved, hypnotic songs with evil, reverb-drenched vocals that were barely a tick beyond spoken word in terms of cadence.
This was not a chops band looking to blow us all away with their technical acumen. This was a couple of evil degenerates let loose in a makeshift studio, determined to leave their signature stain on the world of extreme metal, even if only a handful of people ever heard it. I couldn't get enough of it, letting those earthy drum patterns and echoey hard pan murmurs of Harold Mentor, real name Sammy Katunen, wash through the air over and over again. Not a hint of indie, not a speck of retro. This was pure nihilism. I'm pretty sure that by the time Wisdom of the Few was released the following year, I was able to snag a copy on my own. Released on the Helsinki-based label Bestial Burst in early 2009, the sophomore album offered every bit of the trance-inducing rhythms, primitive percussion, and witchy vocal effects, but this time the whole thing sounded like it had an infusion of pure evil added to the proceedings.
There was a grunty Tom Warrior vibe to the vocals of Dedicated to Destruction that sounded so marvelous against that simplistic tap-tap-tap of Kintunen cymbals. Despite the dirge-like guitar sounds and the slow pacing of the songs, everyone was like a trip through some demonic trap door. The one we're going to play for you now is one of the disc's highlights, The Key of Knowledge. Again, no attempt at charisma, no attempt at virtuosity, just a dark vocal narrative flitting from speaker to speaker over a simplistic yet unprocessed beat. and a marvelous Kraftwerk style guitar tone that sounds like an electric shaver. Let's play a clip. This is the Key of Knowledge.
Yeah, I have the key of knowledge. Locked deep in the sea of myths, where I may drown or enlighten. Yes, darkness calls my name.
I'm telling you, folks, if you want the real, nasty, uncommercial shit, it ain't gonna be four dudes sitting in a man cave talking about Cataclysm. You think this stuff's on Spotify? Guess again.
Let's see. How about the 7+ minute grinder, no savior, no return, which sounds like some kind of mechanical drying machine on its 5th cycle with a microphone hung just above it with a vagrant ghoul muttering about packs of 7 and oblivion as your final address. If you want irony, look elsewhere. If you're interested in hooks, forget about it. Nobody's offering up inspirational anecdotes or whimsical story in this tomb of oral despondency. And yet, there's always been something about it that I find simply irresistible. Whether it's the harsh single light bulb atmosphere of Dungeons of Original Sin, love the echoes and vocal delays in that one, or the unhurried crawl to this crown jewel, the 12+ minute Morning Won't Bring a Morning Star. Filthy, minimalist, doom, 100% fun.
Admittedly, I'm gonna have to go back and revisit the albums that came out after the first couple. The one with the bird on it, it's called like Above the Eye or something. I didn't listen to it very much. I remember it was a little more messing around with electronics, and there was some wicked cool riffs too. At any rate, if you're one of those that finds Flipper and Drunks with Guns too damned happy, try a little Ride for Revenge on for size. And special shout out to Uko or Polysty or whatever your name was for lighting a fire up our asses when we most needed it. Let's hear a little No Savior, No Return. Okay, Orange Juice Scenery.
This is our second time Jeramie's been on our show. We were lucky enough to catch him at the Metro when Inhuman Condition came through. Great, amazing show. I actually have some clips of it up on our Instagram if you haven't had time. They are about in January to embark on their West Coast tour. So if you're on that coast, get ready to get out there and catch this band. They are amazing.
He's so fun and so enthusiastic, and I always want to like dig out all the old Deicide albums and stuff after I talk to him. Cannibal Corpse, all the good stuff, Massacre. He just gives you that OSDM vibe. So take it away.
So it's really good to catch you out there. So I was so glad when I saw The Rat God Lives On. So when it came to the album cover, were you able to pick your own demise, or did you just open up the thing and say, well, that's unfortunate?
Well, truthfully, like anytime that I have like an idea for one of these covers, any of our covers, I take a meeting with Dan Goldsworthy, our artist, and I have a pretty clear vision. This one, I had seen all three of us in traps. I had actually a different perspective. I had a different perspective on the angle that we're seeing. Dan actually kind of inversed it. So it's like from the ground up, going up skirt. I had kind of seen it coming down, and you could see all of us in traps. I really wanted to have that. It didn't plan on being Terry, but it is Terry. Because like I wanted to have one of us in the trap where the rats, you're up on the rack, and then you have the rat cage, because that is like a brutal medieval torture that they used to do.
Yeah.
That one is particularly brutal. So I was like, man, I would love to have one of those. So other than that, Dan just hit me back with his sketch, and it was basically like lined out like this, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm fucking I'm like in the pit in Mortal Kombat. I was like, yes. I was like, hell yeah. Okay, all right. And then like a last minute ad, we added these rats in. It was like, man, it would be pretty cool to finally like, see some rats around the joint. And
Right.
here we are. So that was kind of like a last minute ad on our part. So
Yeah.
as far
No, it's
as
really
far as
cool because
VR.
like there's a lot going on, but it's not too much. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
just it's
yeah.
just where you can kind of see everything's got its own story, but it's not overwhelming. So yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
great. Yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if the rat god, intentionally set the traps for you guys, or he just came back and found out who sprung his traps.
Or he put us there, or maybe we fell into it, or maybe, all of us are really trapped in a way. So
Yeah.
it's like, the old artistic, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like, what does it mean to you? Now Mind Trap though, the interesting thing about that title was I had a completely different title. So I mean, it was even drawn on the cover. So where it's bottom right has where it says Mind Trap, it had a different title for it. I love it. It hasn't been used yet, so I can't say it, but it's a fucking great title. Um, but last minute I was talking with Taylor, and I'm like, bro, I'm like talking about this scene, and if anybody read the Dark Tower series from Stephen King,
Yes.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
there's a scene where they're in New York, and they go into this like basically like these like vampire lair, and it goes down to like a portal to other dimensions and stuff like that. So there's a room that you have to pass through that has a machine on the side of it that's like kind of like a ball, like with a camera in it, and it reads your thoughts, and it projects whatever your most inner fears are in that room, and it will kill you. Whatever you see there can, in fact, kill you. It's like meant to be like a security measure, and it was made by a company. And you go like, I was like, holy shit! I was like, we were just talking about that, and because he was reading that section, or he was like somewhere near it, and we were talking about, man, like literally, it's just a mind trap, and it was like 3 hours later, he's like, bro, I don't know, man, maybe mind trap. Like he just texts me randomly. He's like, maybe that could be. Maybe it was
Yeah.
like me. I'm thinking the same thing. Like it was like kicking over in my head. I was just thinking the same. I was like, sold, done. I wrote Dan immediately. I was like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
change it. We're gonna change it to Mind Trap. And then it literally was like 11th hour. I mean, it was 11th hour, and it was a last minute change where it was like audible.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I like the way though it could be like your own personal hell, like you were saying, or
Mm,
anxieties, or
yeah.
kind of the sneaky way that life kind of ekes up on you,
Yeah.
or a literal trap.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really the same thing, right? At the end of the day, whether it's self-influenced or I mean, you get yourself into a trap. I mean, so also it's,
Yeah.
maybe you're somewhere where you shouldn't be, or maybe someone has some nefarious plans for you, but
Yeah.
it's you're there. So that's why I was kind of like, oh man, this is like perfect. It was like perfect. Again, I was not thinking that terminology at all. We were just discussing some other nerd shit that him and I are on, because like
Yeah. Yeah.
here's my Stephen King books are over here behind my TV, behind my Christmas tree here. But
Oh. Yeah.
I think I have 69 books total from Stephen King.
Yeah.
So we're readers. We like Dune, and we like Clive Barker and Crichton and all that
Oh yeah.
stuff. So my brother and I are pretty avid readers.
I had stumbled onto some Joe Hill books, and I'm like, wow, this guy really writes like Stephen King, and that's when I figured out who he was. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm an
Yeah,
idiot.
he has
No, yeah.
also Owen. Owen does a great job as well. His other son is, I mean, both those guys are very talented writers. Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
The one where a rocker buys like a cursed thing, and he ends up like it's like Heart in a Box or something. It was a really good one, but he's kind of like an Ozzy type character, and he buys this cursed object,
it's supposed to be like he goes online and you can buy a ghost. So he's like,
Oh,
haha, I'll buy the ghost. But then all this horrible stuff starts happening and you can't give it back. And it was a good one.
Yeah. I think we read
perfect.
that
Okay,
before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's cool. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love when I'm reading an actual book, feel like made of paper because I feel like I'm kind of bucking the system. Like I'm not plugged in, for at
Yeah.
least for a while, So
I like it too. And then I did start reading with an iPad, and I started like totally getting down on just having just this with me on tour versus like two books,
right.
because
Right.
you're always straddling, you're always almost done with one, and you're like, well, if that ends, I gotta have something else to read. So then you're
That's
like,
right.
then you're taking two books, and it's like, how
Yeah.
much more does that weigh in your bags?
Yeah.
But so I've kind of been a little bit on the tip of reading with my iPad, which is pretty sweet. You know,
Yeah.
S- Still crush my hours, but there's nothing like holding the damn book and you know crushing through it.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
You can spend an hour and you don't get any suggestions or, would you like to try this or have you tried that?
And no
You just,
ads.
there's no ads. Exactly. So it's
Oh,
nice.
what is amazing about this? I've like constantly look up words just because I'm like, oh, I don't know what that means, or I know what that means, but do I have the actual definition? And then it's rad with the iPad or the Kindle app, and then you just touch your
Oh, I know
finger
what you
on
mean.
it,
Yeah.
and the dictionary pops up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, that stops me
Yeah.
from needing to dump it into my phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I read Bruce Dickinson's book on a Kindle and I didn't understand any of the fucking fencing shit he was talking about. So I had to keep using it for
Uh,
that, you know what I mean? So
okay,
again,
yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
exactly what you're talking about, So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
I'm sure that was probably a pretty good read, anyway. So
Yeah. Well, except for the fencing, yeah, but
big
so
part of his life, though.
yeah, yeah.
He was,
That and the
Yeah,
airline pilot
you would just
stuff.
hear him go, another fencing anecdote.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of fencing in that book, so.
that's
So, all right,
cool.
so
Okay.
so the first two albums were a year apart, right? And then you had Panic Prayer had a 2 year gap, and now with this one, it looks like you had another 2 year stretch. Like, how do you think this one came in terms of songwriting? Was it easier, harder? Anything
Uh,
different?
I mean, truthfully, this one was the most fun to write. Because we have if you hear my dog, she's talking in the background.
All right.
She talks with low grunts. So it's not
Okay.
Tim Allen. It's not Tim Allen.
Okay.
It's uh, this one was fun because I mean the band has an identity, and my brother and I know what to do with that identity, so we're able to just have fun. So we wrote this one soup to nuts together, um, except for two of them. I played drums first, so I just went in the studio and was like, "Cool, I got an idea. Let's just give it to me at this, like, give me this speed." And I played to that click, and I played up to a point, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna change to a that, so I changed to a that, and then we had the whole song mapped out, and then I just played it, and then that was it. The drums were done for that song. So then Taylor had to take it and go write guitars to my drum parts. So we do that a lot. It's kind of like a fun creative exercise on my part because I get to be like, oh, how would a drummer write this or whatever or whatever. I'm just like,
Right.
how would I put the song together, imagining it, and I'll like hum stuff in my head, and and then he hits back with like what he comes up with. Like sometimes I'll be like, I heard kind of like this kind of like a grindy riff or something like that, and he'll go, okay, all right, and then like so the Betterment Plan was written drums first, so that whole song that had no guitars, and then he came up with those fucking banging goddamn guitars. It gets to that chorus, and I'm like, ooh, I was
Yeah.
not planning on that. Okay, I'm like, hell yeah, all right, sick. He's
Yeah.
he never ceases to surprise me, but
I
that's a whole
love
nother. We could spend the whole podcast talking about how much I think Taylor kicks ass at
Well,
guitar.
we did a show one time and it was like all three bands were Taylor bands. It just was the way it worked out. Like we did like the Absence, you guys, and we did like their side. It all happened to be, it was like Taylor Noberg
Killer.
show, so
Hell yeah.
that's a prolific artist right there. Yeah.
Yes, big time, big time.
I love, especially on this one, the way you will roll like between tempos, but it's almost it's so slight, and then you'll slow, and then it's like thrashy, and it's never overdone. You never dip into like Rivers of Nihil territory, or but it still
Awesome.
keeps everything really super interesting. Do you have a secret
You-
formula, like so much of this and so much of that, or does it just kind of organically come out?
Um, no real secret. We just go off of whatever we think feels right. I mean, we're students of the arts. I mean, I mean, I don't know, like here, like this isn't far away, you know what I'm saying? Uh,
Ah.
Okay, yeah.
okay, and then more books and all vinyls, and we're not like we're we like try to understand music. We try to understand like what where the roots of like Florida were, where the roots of like Scandinavian death metal, like because there's like that book Choosing Death, which talks about early stages of death metal, and then there's the Swedish version as well. Um, and man, it's just anything to like listen and then go back, and we like pay attention to old stuff, and then sometimes we'll like sweep through a band's whole catalog, even if we know them or we don't, and we'll just listen to it. And so I mean, there's like so much music rolling around in our brains, and that's why like I
Yeah.
mean, like during the first stages of the pandemic, we did that all in one project where we woke up in the morning, uh, wrote, recorded, mixed, mastered, made album artwork, and released that song that day. Um, and we did 12 different variants of that. We did that. So that was over the course. We skipped a day, one, and that took us 24 days to come up with this 12 songs that didn't exist. And they were in like different genre styles and different mixing styles. And
That's
we were just
awesome.
having a blast. And we got a bunch of like guest musicians to just throw down, um, just because we love music. I mean, we love it. So when we get together and we start playing, we operate like a lot of like stuff that him and I are like pretty well connected mentally. Um, I'll like do a part and like I'll change and he's already there changing right with me, and like we know just about how long, and then we'll discuss it. We'll like record it on a phone and be like, maybe that goes on for one more, and then maybe we just cut the third time it happens, maybe we cut it down by two. Ooh, what if we added a five at the end? You know what I'm saying? It goes like
Right,
that.
right.
We'll just like we songwrite like that. So if something feels pregnant to us, we get rid of it. If something feels thin or hollow, we add to it. It's just we go off what we like, and that's why it's like so shocking if people are into the band and they're like, "Oh, I love the band. I love what you guys did." Like, I mean, it means a lot because we're just playing what we like and what we think would sound good or something that we would like to hear. It's not like we don't do it to
Yeah.
go like, oh, uh, I hope that people are buying records because we're have the catchiest so and so. It's like, yeah, I mean,
Right,
you
right.
always
No.
hope that, but that's not like a like I don't sing a chorus going like this is to have this happen, and
Right.
there's not we're not like inserting a part as like an industry plant. It's
Yeah.
never anything like that. It's like we just do what we do and we like it, and like again, like I said, we're just students of the arts too. I mean, I'm a huge fan. Like
Oh yeah.
de
Yeah.
deicide.
Yeah.
I got
Oh, yeah.
fucking suffocation sweatpants. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, we're just and it's
Yeah.
not like, oh, I hope someone sees that and thinks that looks cool. I'm like, no, I fucking love Pearson Within,
That's
and
right.
Deicide is my favorite goddamn death metal band ever. And you know what I'm saying? It's like it's
Yeah.
it's not
No, I hear
a
you. And then like if anybody likes it, it's like a bonus. I get it. Totally.
it's a
Yeah.
total bonus, yeah.
Yep.
And because we're just writing for us and what we like, and
Yeah.
and I already like so today I heard some song. It was actually yeah, it was last night. Maybe it was today. Last night? One of the two. I heard a song and I'm like just flipping through our Dropbox and I'm like some song we did like 6 years ago, and I'm like this would totally be a killer Inhuman Condition song. It's like something that we had demoed out, just on a phone, and like him jamming guitar and me playing drums. And it was like, that could be a song. It was like, what do we do with it? Is it a standalone single? Do we start writing a new record? I'm like, I don't know. It's like dangerous territory. Like, that's like rabbit hole shit. And we're like,
Yeah.
what's in the rabbit hole? What does
Yeah.
it lead to? Is it a new record? Fuck.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I mean, that's okay. We're just
Yeah.
we're just very creative, and we love what we do. Um, we have a home show coming up because we start our we start our West Coast tour starting January 9th in Tampa at Crowbar. And bro, I made flyers. I went up, I printed them. I fucking went to Entheos, Fallujah, Zenith Passage, handed out flyers. I went to the obituary gig Saturday, handed out flyers, you know what I'm saying? Because
That's
it's
cool,
like,
yeah.
I don't know, I'm passionate about what I do, and I don't have my head so far up my ass where it's like everyone's coming out no matter what, and all I have to do is sit back and enjoy my riches. It's like, nah, man. If people don't know, they don't know. And if I go hand them a flyer, they know. And that's how
Yeah.
it used to be when I was a
That's the way
kid.
it was
Like,
back in the day. Yeah.
if someone
Exactly.
gave me a flyer, I knew about the show. So
Yeah.
if I could go, if I could talk my parents into it, if I could talk some friends into driving, or if I just went by myself, then I went. But you don't know if you
Yeah.
don't know. And it takes someone passionate handing out flyers, whether that's a fan on a street team, whether that's a band member, because I'm just a
Yeah.
band member
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Hey, I sing in a band. Come check my band out. Here you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Here's a flyer.
It's funny. Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah.
saw, we went to MDF this year and that Hyrax was one of the bands and they crushed, right? And I was
Hell yeah.
telling Stace, I went and saw Anthrax Among the Living and I was waiting in line and Caton DePaina came up and handed us Phantasm demos. He was just handing them out. Like that was like 87,
Hell yeah.
Again, it's the same
Yeah.
thing you're doing now, handing out the
Yeah.
flyers. It's the same. Yeah.
Bro, it's passion. It's, again, it's,
So cool.
I don't know. I would like if people came to the gig, and I
That's
would,
right.
it means a lot to me to even be able to just interact with folks and go
Well, I
to
have
a
to ask
show.
you, I wanted to ask you, so, all right, so drumming and vocals, are you pretty much, do you feel just as comfortable with both now, or is one more challenging than the other, or what?
Bro, playing drums is hard, and singing is also hard. So, um, no part is easy. Yeah, I mean, I just spent like 4 hours playing drums today. Um, I did get a new E kit, and that thing has been killer. It's made like rehearsing for this approaching older age fella. It makes it, easier on the ears, easier on the body, because you're not getting those SPLs and all that stuff like running through. You're not listening to something that's 125 decibels, my snare, for
Yeah, yeah,
4 hours. You're just, you're then now onto just some pads. So it makes it more comfortable and makes it easier to hear. It's amazing. So but I mean, I get done playing and I'm like, whoo, dang, that shit's still hard. Like,
yeah,
I get off stage singing, and like, you guys see me play. I don't just stand there and, I don't know, I just erupt into some other fucking monster altogether, and I'm
yeah,
pacing, I'm like jumping, and it's like, it's all just as chaotic as it is when I play drums. So that's not any easier as well. And it's like 110% because fuck, man. That's
no,
what the music moves me to do. So
yeah,
I'm not going like, well, I have this set thing at at part number 2, the industry plant comes in, and
right, yeah,
I do the thing where I don't do any of that
yeah,
shit. It's like live wire stuff, and I'm just having a blast. I mean, I love singing. It's awesome. It's cool not to be chained behind a drum set, but
yeah,
there's a special majesty to being like chained behind a fucking drum set. And you're like, this is my, here we are. This is where we are. So I'm
It's your
stoked that I
office.
can do. I'm stoked
yeah,
that I can do both, and they both are hard, and they're both easier in ways, and both harder in ways. So it's kind of like
yeah.
it's kind of dead even, I would say.
Well, how do you like interact with Colton on the drums? Do you give him a lot of, are you like always coming up with things he should adjust or tweak, or do you leave him alone, or how does it work?
Uh, Man, he is like perfect. He is. I don't really have to say much at all. And 9 times out of 10, he plays that shit better than me. He'll go,
Okay.
"No, get out of here," and I'm like, "I don't know, bro." I'm like, "Holy shit," you know.
That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, it's really awesome. So, I mean, maybe I may go if I'm watching him struggle a little bit with like a thing, I may say like because some of the newer stuff is a little more complex. I wrote a little more complex on Mind Trap on the drums because Taylor and I were like, well, Colton can play it. So we were like, whatever, it'll be okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
some of the stuff is a little more complex, but yeah, but once he has it, he has it. And I don't have to say anything to him. I mean,
That's
he's the
awesome, man.
consummate professional. He's playing with a click in his ear. He's listening. He's paying attention, and above all, he's having a good time. And
Yeah.
that is like that makes it to where everybody can have a good time.
Yeah.
Your foundation of your house is rock solid, so everything else is literally right there. I
Yeah.
mean, that show that you guys came to, Adrian from Ex Mortis, when we were packing down at the end of the night, he came up to Colt and was like, "What triggers are you using on those toms, bro?"
Oh,
He
wow.
goes, he goes, "Man, they just sounded so fucking clear. Which triggers were you? What are you? I didn't see him triggered. Like, what are you? How are you triggering those?" And he's like, Colton's like, uh, that's just microphone, and I'm just
Yeah.
playing, and it was like one of those things. I mean, like if you're
Yeah.
playing and your playing is like and you're hitting and you're consistent, it like makes
Yeah.
everything feel like something is bigger. It feels like more of like a
Right.
cohesive unit. So that dude pulls it off. I don't have to add much, not much at
That's
all.
great.
Maybe like a loving little suggestion of like, oh well, I did it with my left hand and it made it easier for me to get there. So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
an economy of motion, like, oh, I see you're doing it with your right and I did it with my left, so it made it easier. And he goes, oh, okay. And then maybe he'll try it that way, or maybe he'll keep it his way, whatever. I mean, as
Right.
long as we meet in China, then the whole business is like
That's
sorted.
right.
As long as we
Yeah.
get there, then it doesn't have to be my way. And I'm not a militant boss or anything
Yeah.
like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I hate that shit when it's done to me. So
Yeah.
I like to treat shit the way that I would like to be treated, and just have mistakes happen. Mistakes happen on my part. Mistakes happen on Terry Taylor. But
Yeah.
no real things that I have to add to it
Cool.
for him to play them. He's got them.
Like you were saying, I was watching you run around and you get kind of like into, this like poses and I thought, has this man ever fallen off the stage? Because you came really close to the edge of the stage. I was like, oh no, but you were
Yeah. I've got pretty good footing. I skateboarded in my early teens up through 18. So, I mean, I spent about 5 years of like on a balance board. So I have pretty good balance. I still have pretty good balance. Haven't fallen off stage yet. I have
That's
fallen
good.
down, but I mean, that shit happens. Sometimes you just trip over something. But I've managed to keep my footing. So,
That's good. Yeah.
You had a lot of interesting collaborations on this one too with Jamie Stewart, Jonas. God, so did you guys how did you come together? And was it like you told them what you wanted, or they added something that they thought might go?
oh, so those were both. I had ideas for some sections of one. I just wanted like a long screen behind. And I kind of wanted to treat it like a droning instrument in the back, and less of like a focal piece. And I knew that Jonas had like the perfect scream for that because he used to sing in Carnal Forge and has like such a sick scream. So I just added it, and it's more of like a texture layer and less of like a vocal feature. Um, but of
Yeah.
course he did it, and it's I can hear it in there. I'm like, oh, it's awesome to have him a part of it.
Yeah.
Um, and then another one with Jamie, I had him double a part with me, just because if you're an Absence fan, you know that Jamie and I have done that quite a bit. We
Yeah.
did that on From Your Grave, we did that on Riders, and blah 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 blah. So I was like, man, that'd be fucking sweet. I was like, would you mind doubling this part? I just don't like how my voice sounds on it. I think it needs a little bit more. And he was like, hell yeah. So he just jumped in, did a one take on it, and it was like perfect. He goes, is that
That's
it? I'm
great.
like, yeah, we nailed it. Killer. I'm like,
That's
fucking
great.
perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds like you, and sounds like me, and sounds like us together. I was like, so works for me.
I think that Paul being a vegetarian while playing in Cannibal Corpse is some strange death metal irony that if I've ever
Isn't it?
heard any.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
The only
Oh
one
yeah.
close to that is we were interviewing this Swedish band called Bacon Wagon. So I asked them what their favorite bacon dish was, and they said they were vegetarian. I'm like, okay, this makes no
Yeah.
sense now.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, all
Yeah.
right. It's sort of like the old cattle decapitation, like they're
Right. Right.
all right,
Yeah.
okay. See,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul's contribution was awesome. We actually left some more of his vocals on there. So on the song Face for Later, he the first line is uh knife, and then the next one is blood. And both of those we left Paul's uh because he wrote the lyrics for those songs. So he came up and did a vocal guide track, and he sang the whole song, like pa 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 pa, like in a whisper voice. So the first one he goes knife. So we left his knife in there, and the next time it happens, blood. So we left his
Yeah.
blood in there as well. I just doubled along with it, and we kept Paul in there because it's kind
Yeah.
of funny.
How can you
Yeah,
not? Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
hell yeah. And then we actually so we started covering Cannibal Corpse as well. Skull Full of Maggots. And I
Yeah.
told him, I was like, oh yeah, I was like, we're playing that song. He goes, dude, I might have to come on stage in Tampa. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
No pressure, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure. But
Yeah.
if he does, that'd be pretty funny.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So I actually had a question about Face for Later. I was forced to flay her and
Hmm.
save the face for later. The word forced adds a whole different spin on that song. Is it like
Sure does.
it's almost like his personal responsibility is stripped away because he had to do this. It's like,
Right.
He had
was it
to,
like his
yeah.
dark passenger talking? And
You know, uh, yes, I guess it would for sure be that he had to do it. And that adds to like the mystery of that song. 'Cause that song is like so freaking. It was knifey stabby, anyways, without the lyrics to it. It was like it's already just so fucking aggressive. So
Yeah.
I don't know, and that's why I put that sample in. I was like, man, I was like, I just hear a sample here, right? And that took me a while to get one that was right, you know. And and of course, like I'm a product of the '90s, and I love that. Like I like samples, and I like
Yeah.
shit repeats like an industrial track. So I hit that delay on there, and I'm like, this is badass.
Yeah.
And then that's me, and that's me just going like, well, here's my creativeness to the world.
Yeah.
Like it or not, I like it. So this is. So when people
Yeah.
are like, hey man, I love that section, or I love this, or man, this part made me feel, and it's like cool. However it makes you feel, if it moves you even in the least bit, then mega success. Mega success.
Yeah. Yeah. We were interviewing this band called Chained from the Dead or Chained to the Dead a couple of weeks ago, and they were telling me that they do the phone demo first, and then the singer adds all the samples before they record anything. Then with the samples, they have a full demo to start with. And I thought that was
Oh,
really
that's cool.
interesting that like
Hell yeah.
he can't hear the songs without the samples as part of
yeah.
them, even from square
Ah,
one, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. I never heard that
yeah,
before.
that's real cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
Interesting.
I mean, sometimes we'll end up doing that. We'll record stuff with the phone, Taylor and I, and then we just expand upon it. And then if we're like, all right, we're ready to pull the trigger, we just then pull the trigger. Sometimes we've had full demoed everything. And sometimes sometimes you have like an acoustic part or something like that. Or like the drums were like, man, the drums in particular were real sweet at the beginning of this for this demo. And we'll just use the iPhone recording or whatever, and we'll put
Yeah.
it in the actual recording because I don't give a shit. If it sounds
Yeah.
good, it sounds good. And if it has the feel, then it already has the feel. It's like why re-record it to try and capture it clearer or
Yeah.
whatever? It's like it's kind of cool if it's a little lo-fi. So
Yeah, I was
sometimes
gonna ask you
we'll
that. Do you ever finish it with all the full studio bells and whistles and you're like, you know what, the demo was better, but we can't
um
just put the demo out.
sometimes I'll end up thinking like I said, like there's like let's say there's an acoustic part, and I'm like, there's no need to re-record that. I'm like, none. I'm like, we already
Yeah.
have it. Maybe it was just demoed because you just like he'll have played it at his house recording into a phone, but it was like really, at the end of the day, what's the difference? Because
Right.
I'm not using a $3,000 mic to record the audio with a
That's
and I don't have a $4,000 ADDA converter.
yeah.
I'm like, so what? If it sounds good, it sounds good. And
Yeah.
sometimes
That's right.
we'll keep that shit. You know, we even did that with Deicide, but I won't tell you which part. So
Okay.
you
Yeah.
just
Yep. You
you
know
just
what?
have to
Keep the
listen.
mystery. Keep the mystery. Yeah. Yeah.
I
You have to
also
listen
love.
and guess.
That's
All right, now I'm gonna go all the way back through that. I'm gonna figure it out. So I also love the saving face, literally. Is that kind of like you know, kind of doing the Ed Gein where you're becoming the mom or like, saving her for the psycho in the corner
Listen, it's literally up to interpretation. It could be, it could be saving face for something. It's like it could be metaphorical. It can be whichever. It can be however you decide to take it. I mean, realistically, there is like when you're sitting down and writing lyrics, you have like an idea, you have a game plan. Sometimes it takes on its own life and it means something totally different than what you're writing it at, and people receive it completely different, and they just take it. I mean, some people could even take it as like a you could write a song and someone will take it as like an anti-war or something like that. You're like, that's not I this was just personal demons I was writing about,
right.
and
Right.
then so it's really up to, whomever, whichever. But I would say it's kind of, you could put it on and do an Ed Gein thing, or
Mm.
you just put it in your pocket and you fold it and you have it. It could just
Yeah.
keep that person close to you like like a locket of hair,
or a trophy.
trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm.
These dang
Stitching in the
serial killers are
lampshades.
fascinating because I mean, they've infected our entire like mainstream uh everything,
Yeah.
media, everything is affected by it. I mean, like you said about Ed Gein, I mean, how many movies were spawned from that dude alone?
Yeah. Mm.
I mean, and how many franchises are set up because of that dude alone, who was
Yeah.
just some guy in the middle of nowhere doing some fucking real questionable shit, against
That's right.
the line of morality, which
Yeah.
that's like fascinating to us humans. We're like, ooh, God,
Well, and
that's
that,
like
and the timing
nasty.
of it also has a lot to do with it because prior to like say we were just talking about this the other day, if you're a serial killer prior to like 1970, no one's going to be able to tell what you're doing because the cops are like, well, he wanted the insurance money, obviously. Well, are you sure? Because he wore a head as a hat for 2 weeks,
Blood, you're just like,
I
oh,
mean,
clean it up.
like the cops were looking for motives back then. I mean, there was no motives. Come on, So,
Yeah, he was just mentally disturbed, um,
yeah,
and it was unchecked mental. It's a mental illness that was just unchecked and secluded. you
but I
know,
mean, to walk into a supply store and ask for hundreds of gallons of lye and then just say, well, it's because I had a cow that I have to get rid of. Nobody questions it. They're like, oh, it's your livestock, obviously. So, I
yeah.
mean, yeah,
Well, that was back before they had, definitions. So,
yeah,
and we made them popular. I mean, I've written a lot about serial killers. I think they're fascinating. I think the psychology is fascinating because what's the line between a serial killer and a regular person is just like a decision or two. I mean, all of us aren't too far off from if
yeah.
listen, let's just put it this way. If we didn't have like laws, this place would be different.
Oh,
This
yeah,
place
yeah,
we would have if we didn't have laws and consequences, you wouldn't I mean,
yeah, yeah.
you mean to tell me that we wouldn't have a lot more murders if we didn't have like laws and consequences? This place would be fucking crazy,
Oh, yeah, oh,
So
yeah. Hmm.
I think we naturally have it in us. I mean, look at whenever we have a war, we have a reason to go fight and kill people, right? And like 100, 200 years ago, we had no connectivity and we just had what the big person at top told us we had to go over here and fight. And then all of a sudden it was us versus them and it was okay to do monstrous acts. But,
Yeah,
now with the information age, we can go like maybe we shouldn't do that, we
that's
could
right.
maybe we should feel like, hey, we shouldn't do, maybe we shouldn't kill these people, maybe we should keep it all under check. But these people, these serial killers, are like, no, I'm gonna just go and fucking do this,
Yeah.
and I don't give a shit what the rest of the world thinks about me. Like, I wrote a song about Gacy on this album. Obscura is about Gacy, and that dude, I mean, he's a fucking fascinating individual because he was so ingrained with his community. Nobody had any idea. And he was like a bit of a pillar in the community, and he
Yeah.
was part of, like, he ran like Rotaries, and he was in with politics and shit, and like,
I know.
I mean, that dude was like, just below the surface, was an actual monster that would shake your
Yeah,
hand,
I've seen
and
clips and like the cops are bringing shit up and he's like irritated. He's like, I have a meeting with the union in a half an hour. What is this shit?
eh,
Like he was like, yeah, he was a very busy man about town. Yeah,
eh.
totally.
Yeah, did had a construction company, and
Right, right.
I read that Killer Clown book. So that was written by the prosecuting
Oh,
attorney,
okay,
something
yeah.
Pattinson or Patterson Peters, something like that. But I read his book, and the whole first half of it is like basically just written as like bumbling cops, like, like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cops were like tailing him, losing him, going and getting drunk with him at the bar, and
Yeah.
like fucking like hang, like, I don't know, man. Like, the whole thing was like fucking crazy. And we were just, that's one dude that we know about. I mean, think about it. If that BTK guy didn't get caught,
No,
I
Yeah.
mean, if he didn't resurface to get himself caught, he probably would have never been caught, and no one would have any idea.
Yeah, a
And
lot of those guys they were
that dude
begging
was
to
in
get
his
caught
church.
and the cops were so incompetent they couldn't get themselves caught.
Yeah,
Some of those
yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah. So, you know, I don't know. Serial killers are always been fascinating. I remember we had those serial killer trading cards, like the
Oh
back in the
yeah.
80s. Those things were wild, you know. It's the media. I blame the media.
Blame the media. Yeah, exactly.
I blame
Anyway,
Dexter. They made a character that was like a superhero. Where he's a serial killer, but he only kills
yeah,
really bad people. So you're like
yeah, yeah,
rooting
yeah.
for him.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
remember that.
it's like that line of, you're like skating a line of morality, and it's like you're making it okay, or it's made okay because, and that's where,
They were talking about skateboarding before. I saw in the Face for Later video where you talked to kind of about the close relationship between death metal and skating. What do you think makes the two so magnetic to each other or coexisting?
um, I think not as close as, like, let's say early hip hop and skating, or punk and skating. Like, those things were like super married in the early
Yeah.
90s, late 80s, early 90s. Now, for me, I loved skateboarding, and I loved punk, and I loved death metal at an early age. And I don't know, it was like I had a lot of friends that also skated, and a lot of them liked death metal. But, some people then were like, well, that's too hard, or whatever, it just wasn't for them. And that's okay. But I mean, I know a lot of death metal guys that are like really into skating and love it, and a lot of
Yeah.
metal guys that are in it. Look at Megadeth just put out a skateboard video.
Yeah.
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 And I know that Revocation did also a skateboard video. So
Yeah. That's
I don't
true.
know, I know a lot of us are fans, and this one was awesome. I've been talking, my friend owns that's a bowl in back of his house in Tampa. He built that just so he could skate. Um, there's another one nearby called the Dream Driveway, which is famous for, like, some famous skater owns that, and that's also here in Tampa. So it's kind of like we got a pretty good skate culture down here, and I've been talking with my buddy about doing a video there for about 5, 6 years, something like that. And then I just pulled the trigger for Face for Later. Something moved me, something motivated me, and something was like, this is the right idea, and go. So that's kind of like how I function with everything. I just, if it's the right idea, then I'll run at it at 100 miles an hour,
Yeah,
for
I was
better
watching
or
that
for
really good.
worse.
It was really
How
good.
did it go with the skaters and the fire and the
Oh, it was so goddamn Florida. Oh my God. that like one of our fans brought like there's a skull there. He is like he is a construction. He's in construction, so he travels the state of Florida, and he drove back on Alligator Alley, saw that pig head on the side of the road, picked it up, put it in his truck, whatever. It sat there for like a couple weeks. He brought that pig head to that photo shoot, and that thing stunk bad.
I bet.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, it was bad smelling. It was like some dog was chewing on it. It was like fucking gross, man.
Wow.
That dog is, I think the dog made the video, but that dog was like picking it up. It was like this.
Crazy.
Anyways,
Yeah.
at the end of the gig, I was like, "Hey man, you have to take that pig head with you. You can't." My buddy's vegan, who this is his bowl. He doesn't mind having it here. It's cool. It's a prop, but you can't make the vegan take the pig head out of here. You gotta. He was like, "All right, man, no worries." Cool dude.
It's funny.
He's a good dude. But
Yeah.
he was like, "Man," he's like, "I was just trying to bring a little bit of Florida." I was like, "Yes."
Yeah. Totally.
Yes.
What's the best trick you yourself ever pulled off?
I used to be able to do a 360 kickflip. Now
Wow.
I could do that off of a 3-stair, off of a 2-stair, and I was also able to ollie 8 decks stacked, and I could ollie 8 decks side by side lengthwise. So I could ollie pretty far and pretty high, and I could 360 kickflip. It started, I could do some heel flips, but I hurt myself pretty bad at like 17. It was like somewhere around there, and I had a show with my band playing drums, and I like ollied this real big gap, hyperextended my left foot, which still gives me issues to this day.
Yeah.
Yes, Dad and Mom, you were right. Be careful. Okay. And I had to play a gig like the next day, something like that, and it was miserable. And I was like, okay, well, either I'm going to play drums or I'm going to skateboard. I'm like, which is it? Because I really should decide, because I can't do both and like expect my body to do what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to hang it up and I just played drums instead. Parts of me, it was like, man, I wish I would have kept skating, but
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah. That sounds really painful, Yeah.
My oldest was into it in his teens, and I think he broke 3 different bones before I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever
So
he
my buddy who has that bowl, he's in his 50s, and he still skates every single day.
Wow.
And he's paying for it, He's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah.
this shit hurts and this hurts." But he's in great shape, and he still skates. I'm like, "All right, man, respect." Oh yeah.
Yep.
Meanwhile, you're like, what is my deductible anyway?
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly. I wonder if you have to pay. I'm actually going to ask him, be like, do you have to pay more because you have that skate? I mean, it's a full size bowl in his
Yeah.
backyard. That whole thing, that's like, he doesn't act. And that wasn't an existing pool. He just added that. So
Wow.
it's pretty cool. Sweet.
That's awesome. So I noticed in like that video and the other one, you can really see close-ups of Taylor's guitar, and it looks kind of beat up. Was that from
Yeah.
actual damage, or is it just kind of like a distressed pair of jeans?
No, that's actual. That was actual damage, and then it's made to look damaged, because it is damaged. So he's like, it's been shot. It's like been like he sawed a whole thing off, and they put a whole thing on. It was pretty funny, man. Pretty cool. Ornate guitar, heavy as a son of a bitch, and has super high action. But that's all right. Those are his complaints. I just think it looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It does look cool. Yeah.
So for the betterment plan, it really reads like the worst toxic parenting or boss dynamic ever. Lines like, your father, the giver punishment in the cloak of failure, feels like very specific. In fact, I think it took me back to a job I had where they put me on the employee improvement plan, which was really no fun at all.
Perfect.
So is it more about like a parental authority, or kind of broadly about institutions that kind of frame us and try to put us in a box?
I think that it's more about a personality type. it's an archetype that that we all experience. You experience somebody who is old and bitter eyes that are scanning prey. I like that line.
Yeah.
It's like a lifelong disease that's caused your skin to leather. I mean, it really is like you're so fucking horrible that you're a gnarled person by the time that this is all said and done with. And I specifically switch between your Father the Giver and our Father the Giver to maybe tie in some religious shit, but
Yeah.
that's I'm not religious at all, but I was just like felt moved to just drop the Y out of it and say our on a couple of those just to further go, well, I mean, these types of people affect all of us. And sometimes when you give me a microphone and I go on a rant, I'll say like, you may know this person may be you. I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any clue what you guys are like, I'm up here with a microphone, blah, blah,
Right,
blah.
right.
So I don't know if it's you. I don't know. They might be here with you tonight. It might be, but there's like for sure these monsters that I mean, think about Gacy. He had neighbors and they were living next door to a monster. You don't really
Yeah.
know. And sometimes you just deal with these fucking people who are monsters and they're outward monsters. We have names for now. We call them Karens and fucking Kyles. Those are
Yeah, yeah.
the names that the generic names that we've given these people and these stereotype people. So, and if anybody has a smidgen of power, what did Tolkien say? He was like, "Power corrupts the hearts of man." So
Yeah.
there you go. That's eloquently scribed right there because it does. So if they're even in a tiny place of power, they might just act a different way or say things. And you know what? Fuck that person. Fuck that person because I don't do that to anybody. I don't I don't
Yeah.
mistreat anybody. I don't know. I go out to shows and I'm just there to have a good time. And I'm not like, though no one came up and said anything to me. I'm like, I couldn't give a fuck less about that. I'm there to watch the show. And if I see some
Yeah, yeah.
friends, cool. I see some of my friends, fucking awesome,
Yeah.
cool. Uh, Power is so fucking fleeting. We're all going to end up in a pine box at the end of the day. And it's
Yeah.
some people don't care about how they're remembered, and other people, just want to be remembered as for like just being kind, cordial, passionate, that stuff. So fuck
Yeah.
those other
Sometimes
people.
I'll call things out. I get pissed off that people that aren't even there, like, who thought of the men's room where you got to wave around to get a little bit of water to rinse the soap off, like stuff like that, where you're like, somebody thought of this and some corporation said, great idea. And then later they're like, look how much water we're saving. Yeah, but everybody's pissed off now, like just shit like that, like, hey, remember when we had free flowing water and everybody smiled? And just like there's a million examples like that, And then you can't go back. Like you can't go back.
Got to do like magic acts to get water. It's like,
Right. Everybody's
Yeah,
waving, trying to get the
yeah.
dryer to come on. Like who thought of that? Like stuff like
Somebody with
that.
an
Yeah.
idea. Hey, you know what? Fuck them too.
Yeah, exactly. And fuck everybody who approved of that. Like I used to
Yeah,
work at this company where everything was motion lights. And like it would be like all throughout the day, you would see like people in their offices and they would just be sitting in the dark. And they would start doing this just to get light to do their work. I thought this
yeah,
place is like
yeah,
a fucking circus. What the hell's going on?
yeah. What the fuck? That
How much
happens
are
in
we
the bathroom.
saving?
Yeah, you go into the
Yeah.
bathroom and the lights will go out, and you're like, great. Then you're like shitting in the dark, and
Yeah.
you're like, all right, well,
No. Like,
it ain't
yeah,
gonna
how
turn
much
on
are we
till I open
saving?
that door out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would always be like, I want to see the numbers because everybody's in a pissed off mood. There's no way this is worth it.
Oh, it's funny. All right.
Yeah.
so I also loved Severely Lifeless. It leads hard into some repetition, both lyrically and musically, that are just perfect. Were you like intentionally trying to create where it feels almost like intrusive
Right.
thoughts, like in the music and the lyrics with the repetition? Was that something you planned, or is that just reading into it?
No, that's cool. No, that's not something we planned. Again, we just are kind of like Taylor and I are like creative stream creators. Creative like the thought process is just like a creative stream. And as we have it, we just put it down and we kind of add stuff, and like sort of like I said with Mind Trap as like as the last minute title, it was like, let's add that in, it just kind of like stream of consciousness creating. That's it. I didn't have the right verbiage there. It's like, so if stuff like that happens, or then that's cool. That's really cool. That's actually a pretty sweet review. And I didn't even think of it that way. So that makes me go, oh, okay, I guess it kind of could be like that. That's why,
Yeah.
like, you might see me going like, oh, okay, it could mean that. Because I mean, I don't want to say no to you, because if you took it that way, then it means that, or it is that, so that's where music becomes special. And that's where like someone like an artist can fuck it up by like over explaining something or being like really driving a point home. And
Yeah.
it's not like super like tongue-in-cheek stuff where it's like obvious, like the quick brown fox jumps, I mean, that's like
Yeah.
that's all sorted. There's no mystery there. But you may think of it, you may think of it jumping, and you may put it in the background. And if I come in and start giving you a no, well, I mean, the background was actually yellow, and you're like, wait, I was thinking it was blue,
Right.
and then it starts to like detract a little bit from the music, I think. But I mean, sometimes some guys and girls like to read and go like have the whole thing laid out, and then that's kind of cool. But the Beatles did, like, I mean, they had some real cool book. I got it laying around somewhere, some like little book they put out with like pictures and stuff from I think Sergeant Pepper's or something like that. Oh, no, it describes their songs. It's like some song book, and it's like a bunch of their different songs, and there's like some crazy photographs that go with it, and then maybe like a little blurb of a write-up, and you're like, that's equally as confusing as the lyrics. And you're like, wait, okay, so it was supposed to mean what? It's like, okay, or I mean, it might give you like a different, change your opinion on the song, which I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know if that's better or worse. I mean, I don't know what's right, but that's, anyways, now I'm rambling. So
I love the way you just put it out there. The world is a carcass.
Yeah, that's a good one.
From there.
That's a good one. The World as a Carcass is really good. Yeah.
Thanks.
It-
Entrenched in philosophies and knowing
Yeah.
how or why or when is just more rot on the corpse.
Yeah,
It is
that's right.
fucking embarrassing. So I told that to my wife. I was like, I love this line. I was like, it doesn't matter like how much we know or we think we know. I was like, it doesn't fucking matter. Because at the end of the day, this place is a fucking carcass. It's a
Yeah.
fucking dying entity. And it's what we do with that information which is key. It's what we do, and it's how we decide to live. I mean, really, it's how we decide to live and what we decide to do, whether we're just good folks or there for our family, or I mean,
Yeah.
to me, I would rather have like some semblance of that on my deathbed. I would rather have semblance of that, and not like I have the most toys. I
Yeah.
mean, because
Yeah.
there's plenty of people who have the most toys, or they have the biggest office, or they have the biggest, like, who gives a fuck? I
Yeah.
mean, does your dog love you?
That's right.
Is your dog sitting right by you while you're giving this interview, just fucking
That's
stoked?
right. What
You
difference does
know?
it make?
I mean, what does it matter? This place is and it is a cesspool. It's a mess. And it's getting worse.
Yeah.
It's getting
Yeah.
worse quick. It's getting worse quicker than it used to when we were kids. And okay, just try and do the right thing and just have a good time and enjoy each other's presence, and just enjoy life. Whatever that looks like to you, how I decide to enjoy life might look a little different from how whoever's listening, or you guys, how you guys
Yeah.
decide to enjoy life, but just do that. I mean, if it's every Wednesday you guys go out for sushi and you go to some senior bingo because you think it's funny, okay, that's your night,
That's
and
right.
that's your thing. And if you guys do that and that's your thing, then you do that well, and you take care and
Yeah.
you do it. And you go have an ice cream afterwards. Who knows? Whatever. It's
That's
just
right.
they're all little rituals that we do as people. We just have rituals. Just be a good person. Don't try and don't go do things that detract from others or other hardworking people. Or I guess it's a little bit of like a kind of like a hippie bit of a thought process, but just be a good person
Well,
and enjoy your life and take care of your own. I mean, I don't know. I'm not out there with like a flag, like causing chaos and causing like if someone drops something, I'll help them pick it up. You know, and it's just these
Yeah,
are
yeah.
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean, you have
Southern.
social media and a 24-hour news cycle. They're the ones that are really,
I can't even watch the news. I can't.
pushing that,
I can't. And
Oh,
I
it's
won't.
tough. You know, I actually came off social media a year ago. I deleted the apps off my phone. I don't doom scroll anymore. I don't sit and I have no idea if any of my friends had kids. I have no idea if anybody had what they had for lunch. I have no
Yeah.
idea if they're pissed off at that. I have no idea. I do get some news through another source. Like I mean, I'm on Reddit, so I'm current. I know what's happening in the metal industry because that's important to me. I have
That's
that.
right.
There's an
That's what
app called
matters.
Heavy Headlines, and it puts all of the news sites in one area. So I go to one app and I get all of my news, my metal news.
Yeah.
And other than that, I'm off social media, and it's been fucking great. You know,
Yeah.
does it mean anything? No. Does it change fucking anything? No. You know, is the world still how the world is? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It just means that I don't have my nose in it, and I'm not like, ah, you
Yeah.
know, I'm a little less angry, I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Well, at least you guys get along so well. They would never leave you at a gas station.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I hope not. Fuck, no.
No.
I mean,
That's been going
some,
on since the 60s to leave singer at a gas station stuff. There's nothing new about that.
no, man, the Archspire post though, that was
That was great.
pretty
Mm, it
fucking
was really
funny.
cool.
It was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, we didn't know that was a thing. We didn't know we could do that. Like, that's fucking brilliant. That's so goddamn Canadian. I was like, all right, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. That's a Canadian joke. I'm into that. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I know I wanted to ask you for this severely lifeless video. Who ended up being the mummy?
Um, I don't actually know who was the mummy. It wasn't any of us. It was the guy who cut the video for us. He had taken care of all of that, so I'm not sure. I I can't go on the stand for this one. I plead the
Okay.
fifth.
Fine.
With Chaos Engine, was that a specific infamous killer that you had in mind too, or is that just more like a general horror? It seemed like a lot of axe murdery stuff on that one.
I'll tell you what. So I give you a clear answer here. Let me look at the lyrics. Um, no, I didn't think that. I think that what I was going for was like a just a classic fucking death metal song. And I just I was like, I was feeling a little knifey stabby, and I was like, okay, well, that's I mean, good death metal has some knifey stabby bits, and some of it's
It sure
existential,
does.
I mean, that was what was cool about death, at least my opinion about what was cool
Oh, yeah.
about death is Chuck's lyrics were all over the place. I mean, sometimes he was talking shit, and other times he was singing about fucking guts and zombies, and it was like, all right,
Yeah.
it's just kind of all over the place. Stuff that
Well,
it's fun to write. It's fun. I mean, all this music's aggressive, so why
I
not?
love the part about the blood on the floor looks like a painting, and that's for sale too. That's some classic. I love that kind of dark humor.
That's great.
Okay, thanks.
When
It
you
was a bit
guys,
like a Rorschach thing. I was like, the the blood on the floor looks like a painting that's available for purchase.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, this is an artsy line. I told that to my brother, and he was like, I like it. I was like, is it too much? And he was like, no. I'm like, okay. It was one of those things where it was like, it
Oh, no,
stays
that's
in.
great. That's great.
Well,
Yeah.
cool. Hey, thanks much. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was I like that line. I was like, you know, again, I mean, murder sells, and like fucking horror sells. Like, and I that's not why I wrote it, is so people would be like, buy it, because it was like a gory song. It's just like the essence of it is like horror sells. I mean, people love that shit. They
Oh, yeah.
love to see the atrocity. They like to see pimples being popped or boils being lanced. I mean, they're like into like some fucking dark shit, because that's like, it's kind of like blood and guts. People love that, and me too. I grew up loving horror movies, loving them, like still do. I can't think of like too many great ones that have come out lately, but
Yeah,
I try
that's
to
true.
watch them all.
So it was cool that you guys are on a Decibel Flexi disc. They're becoming kind of a sacred thing in death metal, it seems like. How did that work? I mean, did they contact you and ask for permission, or they just tell you they're going to do it, or how does that work?
Well, we were talking, and they had asked if I had any leftovers for Mind Trap, and I totally lied and said yes. I was like, yeah, absolutely, 100%, yes. I typed it out. I'm like, yes, send. And then I called Taylor immediately. I was like, hey, just talk to Decibel. They want us to be a part of the Decibel Flexi series, and so we have to write a song. He was like, okay, cool. So we did what we
I bet you're
do.
not the first to do that. I bet many
No,
bands have
I'm
done.
sure not.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah,
I could have said, no, we'll write you one and record it.
right.
Whatever. I was like, well, first I was like, we don't have anything left over. He's like, no. And I'm like, I didn't think so. I was like, all right, well, we need to write one. So
Yeah.
we did. So we wrote Burial State. And because it was a single, we decided to make it a little more Swedish. We're like, who cares? I mean, you could do whatever, again, we could do whatever we want, and that's fun. We love that style of music. So we made it a little more melodic.
Yeah.
So we brought in a little bit different of an element, and that's kind of rad. So, and of course, I hit him back like 5-6 days later when we had it finished and something like that, and I turned it in, and I was like, hey, we didn't have any songs. We just wrote this one exclusively for the Decibel Flexi, and they were like, oh, that's even better. Yes. So they
Oh,
were like
cool.
totally stoked. And, a star is born. So
Yeah.
we decided to, a baby is born, really. I don't know if it's a star, but we like that song a lot. So we started playing that on this last tour. We're going to play it on this upcoming West Coast run. So we'll also play that song on there, which is pretty cool.
I love the
It's actually,
melodicism with that, like the repeated burial state almost starts to sound like it's a brand new state. It's the 51st state.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, yeah, here's an interesting. So my wife had said we were just hanging out, and this is well before the song. We were hanging out one night, and she's like, "What if all of the people were sent to one state, and that's where all the people went when they died? Like we have one state where all the graveyards are at." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "That's like a burial state." And I'm like, "Fucking write that down." It was like sort of like Metalocalypse, where you're like, "Brutal, write it down, song
Yeah.
title."
Yeah.
So I wrote it down, and that was the real thought there behind that song. Was I was like, I'm just gonna write about like the city of the dead, and like, or the state of the dead, where that's where all the dead people go. I was like, okay.
Mhm.
And then you go to start writing a song, and you're like, well, what do you say? Like, how do you want to say it? Like, how are you gonna like describe? Do you describe the state of the dead? Do you describe what it looks like? Do you talk about the scent of it? Or do you just like you say some stuff and make it vague enough to where it can mean, other stuff to other people? Or do you just say the quick brown fox jumps, or do you just
Right.
how do you tell that story? So I just went for kind of like what I always do. I like to say like a lot in a little. I like to say a lot in a little and try and have it like mean something, because it all means something to me. But that's me. And if you take it, and it might mean a lot and a little to you, and you might even just take a line from it. You might even say perfunctory escape, and that might mean something to you. And that's the cool part about music. Um, Individual collapse, I like that part. Welcome to the burial state. Forever the outcast, we won't play the game. I like that line too, because that makes it where, that's kind of like a band anthem, because we're not doing things the way you're supposed to, Taylor and I. We're doing it our own way, which is pretty fucking awesome, if you ask
Pretty
me.
fucking cool. Yeah.
I dig it. I'm a super fan.
Yeah.
My boss is Taylor, and I'm Taylor's boss, and so neither of
Okay.
us are the boss. So we're both like, it doesn't matter, and we
Yeah.
run 100% of everything. So it's just there's no label, there's no. But I mean, there's like parts of clubs that you can't be a part of because you don't have the right jacket, and fuck that. Also, fuck that. That is like the
Agreed.
epitome of not music. That's like some fucking scene and like some club and nah. But if you don't play the game, you're not invited to those parties. And that's also okay too. That's what makes it so special when people actually care and they actually come out and they actually support because they're supporting a true independent artist. And so I kind of wrote that chorus as like it's kind of like the band's motto a little bit. We are in the burial state, whatever the hell that is.
I like it. Yeah. Yeah, I get
That's
it.
great.
Yeah. Okay. So we play a game on the show. We played it last time. See how you do it this time. I can't remember how you guys did last time, frankly. It's been a while. So it's called Blaspheming Monikers. And I have 5 band names in front of me. One of them is not a real band. So I'm gonna see if you can guess which one of these is a fake band. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Axe Bites, Axe Girlfriend, Axe La Chapelle, Axe Minister, and Axe Battler.
Oh my God. First off, the fact that all of these are bands, or 4 out of 5 of these are bands, is amazing. Those are great names. Okay, say them again. Go for it.
Okay. Axe Bites, Axe Girlfriend, Axe La Chapelle, Axe Minister, and Axe Battler.
Oh, God. I guess I'm going to go with Axe Minister.
Okay, they're real. They're thrash from Ontario. They have 2 full lengths.
Okay.
So that leaves
shit.
Axe Battler, Axe La Chapelle, Axe Girlfriend, and Axe Bites.
Okay. I gotta go until I get it. So I gotta suffer embarrassment, clear up until the end. Amazing. All right. Let's go with Axe Bites.
They are heavy metal from Japan. Interesting. They have 4 EPs and 4 videos. Like I'm gonna check them out after this. They look like they
Okay.
could be like
Yeah.
I don't know, something about. I always loved bands from Japan. I always had a thing for them. So anyway, so that leaves what is it? Axe Battler, Axe La Chapelle, and Axe Girlfriend.
Okay. I mean, like David LaChapelle. So I guess Axe LaChapelle. Let's see if that's a non-band.
No, that's prog metal from Germany. They have 1 full length and 2 EPs. No, the one I made it was Axe Girlfriend. That's not real.
Okay.
Yeah.
But see, that was like the most believable one out of all of them. I was like,
I
oh,
like
that
that
makes
one.
sense.
I kind of like that one. Yeah.
I was like total death metal band from like the early.
I couldn't believe there wasn't a band called Axe Girlfriend. I'm like, you got to be kidding me,
Okay.
But there's
All right.
not.
All right. All
So
right.
there you go. So well
Cool.
done. Well done. Yeah.
Not so well.
Well, not so well.
Sorry, sorry, Axe LaChapelle. Sorry, Axe Bites.
Oh, and Axe Battler. Axe Battler are probably awesome too. They're from Chile and they play heavy metal, so they're probably fantastic. Yeah. So.
See, that sounded like a band as well. I was convinced
Yeah.
that was a band. Okay.
Yeah, like we
All
interviewed a band from Chile like last year. It was this young band. And we were trying to tell them about how like I'll go on like louder.com and I'll send her a screenshot. I'd be like, look, every band has a costume. This because that's the fucking way it is now. Everybody's got to have a costume, right?
Hoods.
These
masks.
these kids from Chile were like, what are you talking about? They were like, we have none of that here. It's all bullet belts. So I was like, okay, it's 1989 forever in Chile, apparently. So
yes,
very
that
cool.
crowd down there is wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just there with Deicide and Behemoth, and that show was fucking chaos, man.
Yeah, no gimmicks down there, apparently. So that's great. Yeah.
No, it's dead serious. Actually, I got a bootleg Deicide hat in Chile. It was pretty sweet.
That's cool.
I went out to the bootleggers outside and was like, I'm gonna need one of those embroidered Deicide hats. Thank you.
That's cool. Yeah.
I love in Recollecting the Future, which is one of the weirdest deja vu things I've ever heard of, that it kind of starts with that kind of slow plucked intro, and then later on the song you plunk like just 4 notes of it in and then go on. I love
Yes.
that.
Thanks. That was us paying a little bit of homage to some earlier death metal stuff where all of a sudden you'll hear a little bit of like something like that acoustic bit come back as like a transition. I like that song a lot, man. That was a bit of a that was a bit of us being sci-fi nerds, recollections of the future, thinking in terms of like, like Philip K. Dick, stuff like that, where it's like dreams of euphoria, shit like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun stuff to write about. It's fun places to go and to visit, and then musically take some trip there. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, I
One
know what I
person.
wanted to ask you. So you're drumming for Overkill now. Like, how did that come
Yes.
about?
Well, that came about because Bittner just originally asked me to fill in for him for
Uh-huh.
just a tour, and then within like a week or two, he quit publicly. So then it was like, oh, okay. I thought I was just filling in a tour, and then it was kind of like, well, you're in, kid. I was like, okay,
That's
let's see how
great.
I do. And I did the first tour, and then it went great. And then I did a New England Metal Fest, and then we did that King Diamond tour, and then I just has went from there. The
That's
guys
great.
welcome me with open arms. Little tidbit here is I used to crew for Overkill back in 2012. Actually 2011 to about 2013, I crewed for them. I drum tech for them, and we just got along great. We were friends, and Bobby had come out and seen me play with Venom when I was up in Jersey one time, and he was like, "Oh my God, I knew right then and there that you could play drums for Overkill, no problem." And I'm like, "Oh, cool, hell yeah,"
That's very cool.
unbeknownst to me, I'm like, but those guys are great though. I mean, they're all like super good dudes and just still passionate, still loving what they do, and
Yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of how that gig came about. I was really
Cool.
fortunate enough to have Jason give me a call and think of me. So I mean,
Yeah.
massive thanks to Jay. Like him and I are good friends, and he actually came out to the Rochester gig when we went up there, and he hung out, and everything's all cool. I know sometimes the news makes it look like maybe it's not cool, but it's all cool.
Yeah.
Then they, the news, they like to stir that shit up and make
Oh
it
yeah.
where it's like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
there's a problem, and it's like nah, there's not. It's all
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that. I was reading that your philosophy comes from Bruce Lee, be water, my friend. And it's
Uh-huh.
just, does that kind of mean like being fluid or just being able to fit anywhere or all of the above?
Yeah, both of those things. Being able to be fluid, being able to fit anywhere, being able to go with the flow, being able to put a fire out, um, being able to not be inflammatory. Um, there's lots of angles behind that philosophy, and you know, this is a rough life, and it can be hard, and some people have harder goes, and maybe my go was hard when I was younger. Maybe your go was harder when you were younger. We had to survive to get to wherever we're at. And if you still have your mind and it's still intact, then you're doing good.
Yeah.
So sometimes like a survival technique is, just you have to, having adaptability. And,
Yeah.
you know, I had to have adaptability. I moved a lot when I was younger. I moved a lot. So by the time I was 13 or 14, I had moved 14 times.
Oh,
And
Oh,
wow.
yes, and I mean like counted. Like I mean, I was a numbers. I'm still a numbers guy, and I had them counted. I'm like, wow, I've moved this many times, and I'm not like meaning like uh across the street. I'm in like whole different schools, different friend
Yeah.
sets, different. I mean like different states, Michigan, Kansas, Hawaii, all over Florida. I mean, I got to Florida when I was 9, so I've been in Florida the longest out of any of the states, but I mean, within Florida, I've moved so many places up until like I got to be about 15. I was like, to my parents, I'm like, please stop moving. Just stay here
Was
for
it like
like,
an army brat thing, or what was it
no,
like?
no, no, no. My folks just moved a lot.
Wow. Okay.
They had like restless legs. I mean, they weren't running from, I don't know, maybe they were running from something, but they weren't running from anything. They didn't like have like they just moved a lot. They like to try
Yeah.
new places and be in new places, and which is cool. you gotta respect that, because that's how they wanted to live. But when I got to like 15, I'm like, please stop fucking moving.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
tired of
When you're a
I'm
young
tired of making
person
new friends. Yeah,
trying to make some friends. Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
little tough, but I mean, it also lent to my wayward lifestyle that I have now. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not so weird that I travel as much as I do, and it's not so weird that I, you know, can meet people and have new friendships and create new relationships, and it's kind of like tempered. So there's a bit of a survival in there of like, getting moving so many times and like going forward and that type of deal.
That's great that you found something good out of it. That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just I guess it's a skill set, it's just to just be able
Yeah.
to be fluid and be able to again, like my main theme about even just living my life is just try to enjoy it. Whatever it is you're deciding to do is just try and enjoy it. Whether, I don't know, even just playing drums. I mean, because some days that can be a chore, but I try and look for like something in it and go like, okay, well, this is fucking amazing.
Okay. In lieu of new music, we've decided this week it's time to wrap up the year. So this is Mark and Stace's top 10 albums of 2025. And let's start off with a very cool honorable mention.
This is Scalp, not worthy of human compassion. We've been morbidly curious about this Orange County five-piece since the 2023 scoring Black Tar album, and much to our delight, the band's sound has degraded even further to a volatile cocktail of West Coast crust and grime, peppered with crazed percussive shift and horrifying samples. Vocalist Cole Rogers often sounds like a beast clawing out of his own throat, layered at times with guitarist Devin Fuentes' bitter, caustic growls, offering cheerful thoughts like, lying to myself, I say there is no fucking way out. I ended my life when I ended my mind. This one's a twisted, gutter-born slab of heaviness, packed with screams and grooves that right out refuses to obey any genre rules. Let's play a clip. This is Bottomless.
Number 10, Decrepit Altar, Egregious Defilement. Those with any doubt that we scout the planet weekly in search of fresh nuggets of sonic filth for your listening pleasure need look no further than this little gem we uncorked a couple of months ago in our Sounds of Decay feature. This duo is from Croatia, and they've crafted a debut EP that falls in lockstep with the monstrous, gurgling, blast-infused style of doom death headstones that we've all but been obsessed with this year. Tracks like The Festering Depths and Fields of Flayed Skin cycle through delectable and deformed crawls through tar, smothered in feedback squalls, subsonic bass flaps, and the occasional melodic guitar declamation just to keep things interesting. We look forward to remarkable things in the future from this dank, mysterious entity for upcoming releases. Let's hear a little of The Festering Depths.
Number 9. This is Orm with Gould. One of the year's most sonically punishing platters comes courtesy of the Danish four-piece known as Orm. Most of the band cut their teeth for over a decade in the melodic thrash band known as By the Patient, and the deadly efficiency that this band can conjure chaos proves the years honing their chops was well worth the wait. Gold is 5 lengthy tracks showing off the prodigious talents of guitarists Thies Wilmer Poulsen and Simon Son Anderson, whose violent, corrosive rift approaches come together to create a style like no other. This combined with the next level percussion of drummer Adam Shoneman makes for a blackened sonic tornado, the likes of which we've never encountered before. Here's a clip from our discussion with Orm drummer Adam Shoneman on the evolution of this beast, equal parts stunning virtuosity and corrosive heaviness.
The fluid way that you move from blasts to the tom rolls, it does a lot of the building and releasing of tension in the songs.
Thanks.
And I was just wondering if you talk a little bit about how you decide on when you blast, and how does the band, is it mainly just you're coming up with things, or is there a lot of back and forth when you guys are jamming, or how do you come up with the I guess the flow of the percussion?
I think it's mainly me coming up at least with all the details. So we jam a lot. So I mean, there's a lot of back and forth thing about is this going to be a bit where we blast, or is it going to be double pedal, or is it going to be straight form, or whatever. So we talk about that, but all the details that kind of make up oftentimes on the spot, I think.
Yeah.
And then I kind of course, listen to a lot of other drummers, and I steal from them, and I also try to do some things that's interesting and not just the same old kind of metal drum fill, right? So I try to kind of achieve that. And also, I think we also think a lot about varying. So even if the riff plays, the guitars play the same things like 4 or 8 times in a row, then the drums should change, underneath. So it's not just the same thing for 8 times in a row.
Right.
So I try to think about that
when
kind of build up the dynamics of the song throughout.
Yeah. When you're stealing, like you said, what are some specific examples of? Are there certain songs or styles that you've just been like, it was very difficult for you to kind of crack the code, or?
I don't know. So, I mean, I do a lot of, I think, inspiration from outside of metal. So I listen also to a lot of like just progressive rock, like Kevin Harrison, who plays for Porcupine Tree and some other things. He has like a very great sense of like musicality in his drumming, and he also plays a lot of these polyrhythmic and odd time signature beats that feels natural and not kind of forced and showy. So I'm very inspired by that. I think to add some kind of more flavor to the music, so kind of shifting the way the rhythm feels and the beat feels underneath the same riff, and like shifting up the time signatures like in odd places and all that stuff.
Number 8 is Vacuous, In His Blood. Pure mayhem and murder vibes, or so we wrote way back in our April review for the sophomore disc from the London-based 5-piece known as Vacuous, their very first for the Relapse label. These 8 tracks offer the tightly executed old-school death metal with plenty of percussive flash from stickman Max Southall and a bevy of anguished screams from throatman Joe Chen, along with plenty of incantation-adjacent guitar squalls. There's so much to offer here to distinguish this band from the sea of others, from the Cure-inspired songcraft of Hunger to the dark lyrics of Contraband, inspired by the true story of 39 Vietnamese migrants who suffocated in a truck while being smuggled into England. In a year crowded with cookie-cutter death metal, the latest release from Vacuous proves to be anything but. Let's play a clip. This is No Longer Human.
Okay, number 7 is the new album from Frightful, What Lies Ahead. Having grown up immersed in the rise and fall of the genre, at this point it's probably easier for a crocheting competition to get a slot on Netflix than a thrash album to make our top 10. It's extremely unfair, and while this year was packed with quality releases from monikers like Grave Ripper and Dead Heat, the one that ruled the roost came all the way from Gdansk, Poland, in the form of sophomore release from Frightful, What Lies Ahead. This one ticks all the boxes, from the blasting percussive precision of drummer Krzysztof Pakanowicz to the dark and rich Euro riffing of guitarists Paweł Snarsky and Eric Jakubczyk, stutter stepping through wild tempo changes, crunchy mid-pace segments, and lyrical leads. Top it off with the Vader-style woofs of vocalist Oskar Wanka, and it becomes obvious that this one is an abrasive, death-obsessed beast of a thrash album that demands inclusion on any self-respecting aficionado's list. Let's hear a little of Disincarnate Sower.
Number 6, Ancient Death, Ego Dissolution. Of course, the attention-getter debut from the Massachusetts-based four-piece was the nod to Obituary's cause of death conjured by the album cover. But upon the very first listen, it was apparent there was much more to this release than a bunch of cool eyeballs. The result of years of crafting a particular sound through a flurry of splits and demos pays off here, as Ego Dissolution is the 35 minutes of hot riffs, wild tempo changes, unafraid to flirt with soft passages, spacey synths, and even some female vocals. Lyrics tackle struggles of the human condition, judgments, insecurities, and psychological pain. Musically, the disc is packed with nods to old-school tech stuff, like Later, Death, and Gorguts. Guitarist Jerry Watunsky is now a full-fledged member of Atheist as well, and the whole thing is rounded out the band's flair for exciting and unexpected tempo changes, making for one of the year's strongest extreme metal debuts. Let's play a clip.
Okay, we're already at number 5. The doomy, the crawling, the disgusting. Number 5, Corpus Ophal, self-titled. This album, released back in March, may have been the linchpin that set the stage for the glorious year of festering, club-footed brutality that dominated 2025. Ugly music for ugly death metal dudes. This pus-filled, multi-clawed beast fuses the doomy freakouts of Autopsy with the squealing cacophony of slimy Finnish old-school stuff, along with harmonized leads, dissonant breakdowns, wounded trudges, sudden blast beats, and monstrous bullfrog croaks just to keep things interesting. Their quick, belch-ridden performance at MDF this year lit a fire under these tracks and exhilarated onlookers with a new school, ugly sound guaranteed to spread like a fungal contaminant for years to come. Let's hear a little of Spinous Forms of Moral Abhorrence.
Number 4, Hedonist, Scalpomancy. These 4 Victoria, British Columbia-based longhairs figured out early on that the way to a true headbanger's black heart is through riffs, riffs, and more riffs. And just when you thought they were done, more riffs. Guitarist JP and Anatol pull from a seemingly bottomless battle crate of scorching brain static, enhanced by the freakish blasts and rolls of drummer Cody Barrick for 10 songs that flash by faster than a happy hour drink special, with titles like Parasitic Realm and Execution Wheel, all backed by the smoky, crusty, reverb-caked grunts of bass vocal master Athena for the perfect balance of raw edge and tight execution. Fans of Bolt Thrower, Sacrilege UK, and Nihilist will want to dust out their Doc Martens from 1992 after hearing this one. Let's play a clip. This is Abominated Void.
Number 3 is the new album from Cancer Void, First Metastasis. All gushing for Death Haven aside, please. We'll take a debut EP from a Prague-based 5-piece instead, thank you very much. This one is for the freaks like us that can't get enough Demigod, Time Ghoul, or Cyclopean artwork. Despite their youth and geography, these 5 show an impressive knack for hard pan riffing, cupped mic brutality, and freakish dragging doom interludes. 2025 will likely be remembered as the year of the ugly-tastic, and releases like this are a good reason why. Song structures are fascinating, solos earworm-worthy, and the logo's hairier than a 75 Hustler centerfold. So get on this before the guys are bigger than the microwave s'mores maker, which you really should check out, by the way. I was very impressed by this. Anyway, you heard it here first. Let's hear a little bit of Breeding Pyramids. So yeah, it's like this tank of water, and it has these 2 electrodes that come out and they connect to the cracker. And then the next picture, it's a s'more. It's like melted. I don't know how they do it. Anyway, come at me in the comments. Anyway, that's not relevant to the countdown at all, really, though. All right, so number 2 is the new album from Sepulchral Curse, Crimson Moon Evocations. Never mind the umlauts. These Finns have earned every accolade received in their 12-plus year existence. But with this, their third length, they seem to have mastered their signature processional tempos, twin guitar melodrama, and an uncanny knack for old-school style crescendo building. Put it this way, our review name drops both Slayer and Merciful Fate, so there's that. Cozy 5 to 6 minute killers like House of the Black Moon and Empress of the Dead are just what the doctor ordered for extreme metal fans that gave up on adventurous headbanging 10-plus years ago. These guys probably sit around in drafty log cabin pubs drinking dark brews with anti-Bowman in their spare time, wondering if they should print another round of t-shirts before November hits and the sun stops rising altogether. At any rate, this one's a must-hear, classic heavy metal mixed with extreme metal. Gotta hear it. Let's hear Beneath the Dismal Tides. Okay, the number 1 album of 2025, according to Mark and Stace, is
Ossuary, Abhorrent Worship. Our number 1 pick from a Madison, Wisconsin band? What are the odds? At any rate, 2025 was the year of the hairy, the ugly, the sludgy, and the freaky heavy, and all those boxes are ticked in short order by this 3-piece that we described as spectral voice being dragged uphill by the mutants from the hills of eyes. The whole album is scattershot with elephant-stomping riffs, painful doom trudges, and blasting surges that are every bit as triumphant as they are muck-ridden. Our celebration of all things contorted, ghastly, and mesmerizingly dark ends with ossuary. Let's play a clip. This is the undrownable howl of evil.
There it is. I think there's like a Spotify thing or something if you want to hear more. I'm not saying anything else about it. The only thing I will say is if there's any service where someone could help us with getting our cable and utility bills paid one time, could someone come at me in the comments? Because that's where I need help. This has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to Jeramie from Inhuman Condition for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme by Gustav Jord of Defleshed. Sounds of Decay theme by Steve Rathbone of Lair of the Minotaur. Thanks to everybody who's been viewer this year, and we've got lots of good stuff on tap for next year. So we'll see you then. All content 2025, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast.
Oh, God. We haven't paid the water bill in 2 years. They're going to come shut it off if we don't pay them $11.45.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if we can afford that.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.